So there's this commercial on TV that you may have seen, and it's a mom, and she's chasing her daughter through the house with a green bean on her fork. And she's screaming, "You're gonna eat one more bite!" And the daughter's like, "No, I'm not hungry!" And you're like, whoa, this is intense. Like, I wonder what's gonna happen next. And then all of a sudden, the music changes. Da 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 da. And the camera zooms in on this box of Kraft macaroni and cheese. And then it pans over to the mother and the daughter, and they're sitting peacefully at the table, enjoying every bite of their macaroni and cheese dinner. And then just to drive the point home, the narrator ends with, "It's Kraft for the win-win." And, we can laugh at that and kind of say, well, that's really not a win-win on a lot of different levels. But the commercial really does do a great job of pointing something out that we as moms all face when it comes to trying to help our kids eat healthier. And that's resistance, right? Our efforts to help our kids eat healthier can often be met with resistance. And so this morning, that's why I'm here. I'm here to share with you some successful strategies for eating healthier, not just for your kids, but for the whole family. Because we all know that nutrition is the building block of health and wellness, right? It's not a newsflash. We know that. And so I don't find that it's a lack of desire to want to feed our kids and our family healthier. Most moms want to feed their kids healthier, and they want to eat healthier too. And as a result of this strong desire, we can often find ourselves, just like that mom in the commercial, resorting to unsuccessful strategies like trying to force or bribe or coax our kids into eating healthier options. And then when those aren't met with success, we can feel like giving up and just saying, forget it. And then we return right back again to those unhealthy options like processed foods and drive-thrus and takeout. And I want to assure you, I get it. Like, as a mom of 2 boys, I understand the challenges that we face when we're trying to navigate this road of eating healthier. But I want to encourage you this morning that there are some basic principles and strategies that will really make it a lot easier and a lot less stressful for you when you go about trying to help your kids to eat healthier, and really the whole family. So there's a lot of exciting stuff that we're going to cover. So are you ready? What? Are you ready? All right. Well, let's dive in. Okay. So it's kind of like a no-brainer, no duh, but we forget sometimes that one of the best sources of influencing our children is to lead by example. It's a proven fact that parents who model healthy eating have children who eat healthier. And so we've got to think about this logically. We can't expect our kids to eat healthy if we're not eating healthy. Our kids are going to develop the eating habits that we have as parents. And so we've got to eat those healthy foods that we want our kids to eat. And so it really starts with defining what is healthy eating for you and your family, because it's going to be different for every family. There may be some families that have kids with serious food allergies or food intolerances or health issues, and they may have to have restrictions in their diet, whereas other families don't have those same restrictions. Everybody's lifestyles are different. Incomes are different, right? Culturally, the way that you eat is going to be different. And so it's okay to have the differences, but it's important to have a plan. Because if you don't have a plan to eat healthier, then you're not going to be able to make progress. And we'll talk a little bit more about the plan part in just a few minutes. So, as we're thinking about modeling healthy eating, we also need to think about the habits and attitudes that we have towards food, because our kids are going to pick up on those, and those are going to be the habits and attitudes that they start to adopt as well. And so what do I mean by that? As far as healthy habits, there's healthy food habits and unhealthy food habits. So some healthy food habits would be things like portion control, eating regular meals rather than lots of snacking. And then there's unhealthy habits we have, such as comfort eating, boredom eating, using food as rewards or to comfort ourselves when we're feeling down. So we got to think about our habits because our children are watching our habits. And so we want to adopt more modeling of healthy habits and less modeling of unhealthy habits. And then there's our attitude towards food. And this can be a big one for us as women. I mean, we can have some pretty seriously negative attitudes about food. And it usually revolves around weight. And if you have daughters, your attitude towards food, they're going to adopt those same attitudes. And it's not just impervious to boys either. And so we want to have a positive outlook on food. And so we can really choose our words and our attitude by focusing on the positives of food. Look at all of the amazing things that God has created for us that are good for our bodies and nourish our bodies, and let that be our focus. And it is important to point out things that are unhealthy so that your children understand, but we want to spend more time on the positive. You know, when you're around friends, don't you enjoy being around people who are positive and upbeat and encouraging and enthusiastic about things? That's contagious, right? And then people that are moaning and complaining and grumbling and griping, they tend to kind of pull us down. So we want to have that positive attitude toward healthy eating because our kids are going to be more drawn to that. The other thing we want to do is commit to regular meal times. And I know that can be super hard as busy moms, but we do need to make it a priority to schedule regular meal times and regular times for snacks so that we're on a schedule as much as possible with our kids. Now, we all know that we have a biorhythm or a circadian rhythm. You guys know that, right? Your bodies, if you train your body with regular sleep patterns and regular eating patterns, your body knows when to be hungry and know when to be tired. And this is really important, especially for children who are growing and developing, because what it does is it creates a healthier environment for your body. It helps curb food-related meltdowns, and it can even change behavior for some kids. So having that regular schedule is super important. I know it's not always possible. We do have to be flexible, but it's about being consistent as best as possible. So we want to strive to eat at home as much as we can. And the reason is eating at home is almost always going to be healthier than eating out, or eating in the car, or eating on the run. So that way we're actually choosing the foods that we put on our plate. And as moms too, we sometimes will feed our kids. You know, we'll put our kids at the table and feed them while we go multitask and do other things, right? Well, it's hard to model healthy eating if we're not actually eating with them. And more than that, we're missing out on an opportunity for connection and engaging with our kids and talking to our kids and having an intimate relationship with our kids. And that brings me to the next point, which is it's important to make family meals a priority. So we do want to aim to eat meals with our kids as much as possible rather than feeding them separately. And I am a huge proponent of reinstating the family table. So here's a picture of a family eating around the table. And sadly, this isn't the norm anymore. This has really fallen by the wayside, and we are missing out big time. Because not only is the family table a great place to model healthy eating and enjoy each other's company, it's not just about sharing food, the family table, it's about sharing our lives with each other. You know, in God's Word, almost all of the conversations revolve around food. People get together, they can see each other face to face. There's an intimacy there. We don't want to miss out on that with our kids because like Tanya, now I'm having a mental block. Tanya said, they're gone like that. And so research shows that families who eat meals together have deeper, richer communication, are more connected with one another. The kids do better in school. They're less likely to get involved in drugs and alcohol. Why do we think that is? Because there's open dialogue going on with the parents. So as much as I want to focus, and I know you guys are interested in healthy eating, we want our kids are physically to be healthier, but we want our kids to be spiritually and emotionally healthier too. So think of mealtime as really that connection time with your family to stop all the busyness, sit down, and invest in one another's lives. Oh, my clicker. There we go. Oops. I was impatient. I tend to be that way. If something doesn't happen right away, it's like, okay. So the next point is going to address some of the issues around this resistance that we face, right? We talked about that little girl in the commercial, no, and we can relate to that. So how do we start to overcome some of this resistance? Well, one thing is that we're going to want to expose our kids to a wide variety of healthy foods. Kids tend to want to eat, they latch on to a couple things, they want to eat that. My younger son wanted peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and he was going to die on that hill. It's like, that's the only food in the universe, that's what I want to eat, So we need to just keep exposing them to a wide variety of healthy foods. And that's going to happen when we stock our pantries and our fridges with healthy options. We want to aim for less packaged and processed foods and more whole foods. We also want to make it easier on ourselves by only having healthy foods on hand, because we can't really expect our kids to make healthy choices when they know good and well that there's unhealthy choices lurking in the pantry and the refrigerator, right? I mean, who would rather have an apple over a cookie? Most of us would be like, that cookie looks pretty good. So the more that you can eliminate those unhealthy choices, the better it will be for you to focus on eating healthier. Now, I do want to warn you, I'll do a little sidebar. I'll come over here for the sidebar. Don't do what I did, which was, okay, I've had it. We're eating healthier. That's it. I'm tired of this. I went in the pantry and I threw everything away that was unhealthy, and the fridge. Everybody's favorite junks and comfort foods, they were gone. They were out the door. And I was met with tears and drama, and even my husband wanted to break into tears, So all of a sudden I've made enemies of everybody, and they're not going to listen to me of why we need to eat healthier. Start with one thing at a time. You all know those things that are in your pantry and your fridge that are just junk. So start with one thing and slowly start to build from there. You don't want to just toss everything out. Some healthy snacking options. Make it easier on yourself. Cut up some fruits and some vegetables. Have those in your fridge so it's super easy to grab them. Kids love to dip stuff. So have healthy options for dipping, like homemade ranch dressing that doesn't have all the chemicals and the preservatives in it. And things like hummus or nut butters or healthier yogurts, things that the kids can dip their food into because they do enjoy that. The other thing is to consider food presentation and preparation. Arranging food in fun ways is a great way to get kids interested in foods maybe that they have never tried before, or to reintroduce foods that they haven't been super jazzed about trying. And so we all know this works. We go into a fancy restaurant and they put the food on the plate in this beautiful presentation, right? Why do they do that? They do it because the food presented in this beautiful fashion stimulates your appetite. It's like, wow, that looks so good. I can't wait to eat it. Well, for kids, it might look a little different. It could be something as simple as these little pancakes here that I made, where this is like a healthier pancake, and we just took little banana slices for eyes and a little blueberry for the nose. This is fun. Over here, we've got a palm tree, And it's made out of avocados with little carrot sticks and some granola. And I mean, how fun is this sandwich? It's like a little prehistoric adventure, you know? It's like you totally want to bite that little dinosaur's head off. So there's little things that we can do with pita bread or English muffins and create these little vegetable faces or little fruit faces. And then I really love these little flowers made out of fruits with some avocado slices for the grass. So these things don't take that much time, and I'm not saying that you need to do this for every single meal, but it's a great tactic for introducing a new food or reintroducing a food that maybe they were a bit resistant to, because all of a sudden it looks fun. It's even better when you can get the kids involved in making these cute little presentations. Kids are super creative. This is one of the things that we do in the summer cooking camp, is I have them create food faces, or we'll do different things like that. And I specifically pick ingredients, vegetables, because it's shocking to see kids try something they've never tried before because they made it look fun. And they see their other friends eating it. So these are great strategies that you can employ from time to time as you're introducing new food options. The other thing you can do is try different cooking methods. We all know that scrambled eggs taste totally different than boiled eggs, right? In fact, some people love scrambled eggs, but they hate boiled eggs. Well, the same holds true with vegetables and the method in which you cook them. Roasted vegetables, here we have some roasted sweet potato bites. It's simply, I even leave the skins on. Just cut the sweet potatoes up into little bite-sized chunks, toss them with some herbs and salt and pepper and some olive oil, throw them in the oven at a high temp so they roast, and boom, you've got these really delicious little sweet potato bites, which are perfect for beginning eaters using their little pincher grasp. They can pick them up and put them in their mouth. But roasting a vegetable makes the vegetable taste completely different than steaming it or even sautéing it. And some people prefer that roasted flavor. So if you've tried mashed sweet potatoes and your kid's like, "Oh, I don't like those," try roasted sweet potato bites. They may enjoy those because the texture is different, the flavor is different. Same with grilling. Grilling adds this smokiness and flavor to the vegetables that can make them more appealing or appetizing for kids and adults. Another thing you can do is finely chop up vegetables and incorporate them into other foods. Like, for instance, down here, you can put them in quinoa or rice. If you use some chicken broth, it makes it even more flavorful. And so you don't notice the flavor of the vegetables as much. The other thing is you can kind of hide them in these little meat patties, which is basically just ground chicken with some fine diced veggies. And I just saute them in the pan and serve with a little side of ranch dressing. Great meal for kids. Even kids that are picky and think that they don't like vegetables tend to like things like this. So I'm just sharing these ideas with you so that you can think outside the box of maybe they really do like sweet potatoes, they just like them in a different style or format. So one of the most important things that you can do if you're wanting to eat healthier, we talked about, is have a plan, right? So meal planning is a great way to be able to create a system for building time in for the food presentation, for choosing and selecting meals that you're going to make for your family, for being able to do things like batch cooking, which some of us talked about. Some of you guys from last semester were telling me about how you've incorporated that batch cooking method where you make more of a main ingredient so that you can make more meals with it throughout the week. And if you're new, because I know there were a lot of you that are new, and you missed my presentation from last semester, which was called Meal Planning for Busy Moms, you can still find it on the Navigating Motherhood website. If you scroll down where the videos are, it's like on the second page, and you'll see that picture of my family. And you can watch that video, and it tells you all about how to meal plan, how to create a meal plan. And that will really help you to gain ground in your healthy eating goals. So we talked about how we can lead by example and the importance of exposing our kids to a wide variety of healthy options, right? Now we're going to talk about the number one best strategy to help you overcome resistance. And it not only will help open up your children to being able to try more foods, but even more important, it's going to help them build the skills and confidence they need that will last through their entire lifetime. Because what I'm talking about is getting your kids in the kitchen with you. Research has proven that kids who participate in the kitchen are more likely to eat a wider variety of foods. And it's kind of a no-brainer because they've got skin in the game, right? If they get in the kitchen and they chop a little bit of something up, or if they're real little and even if they mix some things and you're encouraging them and you're making it fun and you're like, look what you're making. Look, you're making food. They're not only going to want to eat it themselves because they've got a stake in it, right? They put some time and effort in it, but they're going to want everybody else to eat it. They're going to be like, Daddy, look what I made. And it's so adorable. Again, not to harp on the kids' cooking camp, but it's so cute because when the moms or the dads come in the door to pick them up after camp, they save stuff. Like some of them literally save stuff and they're like, I want you to try what I made, because they have a sense of pride and accomplishment in it. So getting your kids in the kitchen, you may think, oh yeah, here my boys are a little older and you can see them in the kitchen with me, but you can get kids in the kitchen. I mean, this little guy down here, this is my nephew, and he's 7 months old. And my sister-in-law, she will not be offended if she listens to this. So sorry, Kim, but I'm going to out you. She does not like to cook. She does not consider herself a cook. They eat out a lot. And so it's not like this little guy's had a lot of exposure to watching mom cook or anything. But I sat him down on the floor, and I put a little step stool, and I put some bowls and some spoons, and I got down there with him, and I showed him what mixing looks like. And then I took the bowl in his little arm with the little spoon in it, and I helped him mix. And we made up a song, and we were like, mixy, 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 and we made it super fun. And then I stepped back, and I started singing the song, mixy, 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 and look what he's doing. Like all by himself. He's 7 months old. He gets it. Kids are smart. And so I'll tell you and encourage you, this guy right here, this is my oldest son. He's now 21 years old. And he just moved out in December, has his own place with some roommates. And guess what text messages I get from this guy? And this is a manly man. He is a machinist that works in a metal fabrication company for an engineering firm. So he's in the trenches getting just greased up. He works on cars. And I get text message from him, hey, Mom, I'm going to make that, meal that you used to make for us for dinner, but what are the ingredients I need again? I'm like, what is happening right now? So they are paying attention. They are listening. The time that you're investing with them in the kitchen is going to pay off in amazing dividends in so many ways. Not only are they going to be exposed to eating more healthy foods, you're going to have a time of conversation and connection with your kids, and you're going to help them build skills that last a lifetime, that they'll carry out into their adult years and hopefully share with their family as well. So I can't say enough about getting your kids in the kitchen with you. Now, you're going to want to keep these things that you're doing in the kitchen with your kids age appropriate. So to help you out, I have a handout that our NAVMO team generously copied for you. And it goes through age by age some things that you can do with your children that are age appropriate. So you don't have to think, gosh, what can I do with a 7 to 9 month old? It's right here on this page. The other thing it does is it lists out some basics on how to go about doing this. But on the second page, it also lists out some really fun things that you can do with your family to make mealtime more fun. Remember, we talked about the importance of gathering around the family table, so it gives you some fun ideas for making mealtimes a little bit more fun, and I'll share about those a little bit more in a minute. But first, I want to talk about going back to meal planning. One thing that you can do with your meal plans is get the whole family involved. Get your kids involved with helping you create a weekly meal plan. Because if you ask them, hey, what do you want for dinner this week? Of course, they're going to pick their favorite thing. And then you can, put that on the meal plan. And it really fosters like this teamwork, because my older son might pick something that my younger son isn't super jazzed about, it's not a fan of. And so he might want to complain or grumble like, oh, I don't want to have spaghetti and meatballs. And it's like, hey, wait a minute now. You picked tacos for your night. Do you want everybody grumbling and complaining about your tacos? No. So you can't grumble and complain about the spaghetti and meatballs. You got to take one for the team. That's my expression. Take one for the team. We're a team here. You got to eat this because it makes everybody else, enjoy their meal. They don't want to have their meal while you're grumbling and complaining about it. The other thing you can do is have your child help you with part of that meal that you're going to make, part of the meal that they chose. Or you can do it together as a whole family, where you have maybe once a week or once every other week, the whole family kind of comes in the kitchen and helps on one way or another, just to, again, foster that teamwork. So we did talk about the fun family dinner night on the second page. So some of those ideas are like taking a seasonal approach, like maybe you have an Easter dinner at the Easter theme. Great way to talk about the message that you've heard at Easter and ask each person what they've got from that message, or what did the kids learn from the Easter message that they heard in Kids Club. And you can do a seasonal theme. You can do a ethnic theme, like maybe it's Italian dinner tonight, and so everything's Italian themed. You can even get Italian restaurant-looking tablecloth on the table. You can do fun things like pajama night, where everybody comes to dinner in their pajamas and the kids bring their teddy bear, and you have pancakes and eggs and whatever for dinner, just to get them used to gathering around the table and making it fun if you haven't been doing that. Now, I know that it's not something I would say you'd have to try to do every night or even every week, but every other week, once a month, just something fun together as a family. So last but not least, another way to expose your kids to more healthy foods and also get them to participate is to go and visit a farm or have a family garden. I know a lot of us in California have limitations on space. We can't have like a big old backyard garden, but you can do container gardening. You can do things like cucumbers or herb gardens or tomatoes. Those all grow well in containers. You can take your kids to the farm, hopefully this summer. I know we've been under all this COVID restrictions, but hopefully places like Tananka Farms, if you've ever heard of them, they do farm tours where you can take your kids, and that might even be something fun to do as your small group, where a group of you take your kids and go to Tanaka Farms and see how vegetables are grown and pick up a couple things and bring them home and have your kids help you create some kind of meal or snack out of the foods that you got while you visited the farm. And then kids' cookbooks. Those are so fun because they're filled with recipes that are simple and are created specifically so that kids can follow them. They have pictures of kids cooking, so those can be a huge encouragement for your kids. So how do you get started in doing all of this? Well, just to refresh our minds, we want to have a plan. We want to define what healthy eating is for our family so that we can model it. And we want to be able to stock our pantries and our fridges with healthy options, have a meal plan so that we can better set ourselves up for success. And then we're going to start eating together as a family. So you can choose one or two ideas to start. Remember, we want to start slow and then build on your progress. So you could choose any one of those options, like maybe some fun food presentations if you're going to introduce a new food, or you could try a different cooking method. Whatever you think on there that sounds the most doable and the most interesting, just pick one of those ideas. And whatever you do, think about getting your kids in the kitchen with you, because it is going to be an awesome experience that will help them broaden their horizons to try new things and give them those skills that they need for their entire lifetime. So I hope this has been an encouragement to you this morning. I hope that you have wonderful small group discussions, and I thank you and appreciate you having me here, and I wish you the best as you begin your table discussion groups. Thank you.
Thank you.